in 1930, I think around 1938 or 39, I was a student in high school there in Dothan, Alabama, and they usually have what they call a peanut festival parade and celebration. Now they call it a peanut festival, and for this particular festival in 1939, I believe it was, while I was in high school, and I was a member of they call it the colored band. We had a high school band, and we were in a parade, and they had invited Dr. Carver to come from Tuskegee to be the principal speaker at the large stadium they had there in Dothan. So we went to the occasion, and of course it was segregated. Even the band, our little colored high school band, sat in a separate area from the other majority people. And of course, when Dr. Carver got up to speak, he received a very large ovation from the entire audience. Now, the audience, which composed of mostly people of the other race, so to speak, wanted to hear what Dr. Carver had to say to them about how he had developed certain ways of rotating crops and whatnot to produce more food and other products from the soil. So Dr. Carver, in his speech, told them that they had to rotate their crops. Plant cotton, corn 1 year or 2 years, and then peanuts the next year and the next year perhaps. And they had never thought of that before in Alabama. So they started doing that, and they gave Dr. Carver, even many years after, credit for showing them how to raise larger crops and with less pesticide in their field. So they were very appreciative of what Dr. Carver said and what he had showed them how to plant and rotate their crops. Now, they had many people here in Tuskegee, at Tuskegee Institute, they call it there, in Tuskegee University at the present time. But they had many foreign students here, and I can remember my mother was a student here long before Dr. Carver came to Tuskegee, maybe around the same time. But she used to recite certain things that Dr. Carver had spoken about in his speeches. Nevertheless, when I became a student here, my mother talked about Tuskegee so much, so when I became a student here in 1940, I graduated from high school in Dothan, Alabama, at the Dothan Colored High School, and my mother used to talk about Tuskegee so greatly, so relevantly, until I had to come to Tuskegee. So when I came to Tuskegee, my mother and father did not have the funds to pay for my tuition and other things. So my mother had talked to some of the officials here at the school, and they had what you call a work program, even up to 5 years that some students could work their way through. Nevertheless, I was put on a 4-year schedule, but I had to work about 3 hours every day in order to pay for some of my upkeep. My work, I had to walk from my Van Cottage residence down to where the emeries are in order to do the work I was supposed to do. So I used to pass the laboratory, that Dr. Carver's laboratory, every day going down to work. And as I passed his lab, I waved my hand at Dr. Carver because he was out on his front porch or veranda, and he would see me and recognize me, and he would throw his hand up, and I would throw my hand up, saying good morning. So that went on for at least a year. So that's why I could recognize him very well. He would recognize me, but I cannot tell a lie, but I never had any personal dealings with Dr. Carver, whether it's in his laboratory or whatnot. Nevertheless, he would recognize me, I would recognize him. But I think one of the greatest things that I remember about him, besides his inventions and things that he developed, I can remember him coming to Dothan to speak to all those people when things were so segregated. And then the black people, the white people, and everybody cheered him greatly because of what he had accomplished. And even Henry Ford came down here to Tuskegee to visit him and to get him to develop various products for them to use in the auto industry. Nevertheless, I do remember him, and I cherish him, and I think he's one of the greatest men that ever lived in this world. And he was very religious and a very straightforward man, but he had a high, shrill voice. His voice sounded like this. Hi, Mr. Boykin, how you doing today? I'm glad to see you. He had a very high-pitched voice. He's not the gruntle sort, but that very high-pitched. But he was a very, very good man, and I'm very happy to have known him these years. Thank you very much.